If a nation has a history of human rights abuses, would you let them build bridges across its borders? Because of Brazil's pro-American stance, Japan was picked to construct the additional river bridge instead of China. This choice was made by Brazil. However, not long after the building of the bridge was finished, a ferry collided with it, causing a portion of the bridge to collapse. It was eventually revealed that the material utilized was of the lowest grade. Even Japan's government apologized for the losses, and the leaders literally bowed. At that moment, Brazil decided to work with China on its next megaproject, which involved the construction of a cross bridge. But can China truly take credit for the flawless construction of the bridge in El Salvador? Brazil is situated in Latin America and is subject to the profound influence that is projected from the United States. Despite the fact that it is a neighbor of the United States, Brazil is unable to obtain assistance from the United States in the construction of mega infrastructure in its various cities. In addition, Brazil is not equipped with the technologies necessary to construct large structures anywhere inside the country. In order to compete in the building arena, it needs to rely on its abilities. But which nations have stunned the rest of the globe with their perfect construction of dominance, and how did they accomplish this? However, China is at the top of the list. However, because Brazil is a neighbor to the United States, it is unable to contact China. Because of its pro-American stance, the government of Brazil cannot choose to work with China on any kind of building project. Whether Brazil likes the US policy or not, it is required to acknowledge and comply with it. When the time came, Brazil decided that it wanted to construct another river bridge. When the villagers had trouble getting about, they were forced to take a longer route and spend more time doing so. We have at long last made it to the opposite side of Berlin City. It was not feasible to drive a car or other vehicle between Belém and the other parts of the state since there was a river in the way. As a result, Brazil held a public competition to solicit bids from all over the world in order to choose the most qualified constructor for the bridge. The building of the bridge attracted bids from businesses located in a variety of nations. Having said that, such a bridge could only be constructed by two countries, China and Japan. Even the government of Brazil was aware that China had the upper hand. However, it was necessary for it to select Japan because Japan is a partner of the United States. In addition, Japan proposed building a bridge at a reduced price in order to increase its chances of being selected for the project. As a result, Brazil selected Japan as the partner country, and work on the 1,860-foot bridge got underway. As soon as the construction was finished, the bridge was made available to the general public. Now the residents could travel within minutes. After some time had passed, however, a ferry ran into a portion of the bridge, which ultimately led to the catastrophic collapse of the bridge. The incident, which took place in Brazil and Japan, resulted in the deaths of 3 persons and injuries to 15 others. After some time had passed, Japan expressed their regret over the incident and promised to fix the bridge. However, Japan used a brilliant method to increase their profits by stating that Brazil was responsible for paying for the repairs. After some time, China was asked to help fix the bridge, and Brazil kept quiet about the fact that it had made a mistake in the beginning and should have called Japan instead. At this point, Brazil was aware that it could not select Japan as the company to carry out additional building in the nation. After some time, El Salvador and Italia, Central America, are now connected by a bridge that was built by Brazil. El Salvador is the 3rd largest nation in Brazil and is home to the country's 2nd largest industrial metropolis, which has a wealth of oil. On the opposite side of El Salvador sits what seems to be one of the most popular tourist destinations in all of Brazil. There is a significant body of water that makes transport between these two cities next to impossible. Ferry boats are mandatory transportation for both locals and visitors, and anyone who wants to drive around the island would incur a 2-hour delay. Without giving it any further thought, Brazil came to the conclusion that they should construct a bridge in this instance. In order to complete this mega project, China was contacted. The governments of Brazil and China have settled their differences and come to an agreement. It was necessary to construct the bridge across the wires. The length of the bridge will reach 46.8 kilometers when it is finished, 12.4 kilometers of which will be supported by enormous cables and run across this area. Because the water depth in the sea may reach 60 kilometers, China was required to demonstrate its technological supremacy by constructing the bridge in the most error-free manner feasible. It had to do an action that it had never carried out before. The main towers will have a length of 205 meters, with a maximum span of 450 meters, and will be constructed. It was impossible until a number of different Chinese companies collaborated with one another. As a result, the China Railway 20th Bureau Group and the China Communications Construction Company collaborated to come up with a plan to construct the cable steel bridge, which would be the first of its type. The capabilities of China were evaluated as part of this research. This is made abundantly clear by the extremely technological and complex building that China was required to complete. For instance, the bridge had to have a narrow wall and a hollow pier, and it could only be 30 centimeters wide. The creation of this bridge was nothing short of an engineering marvel. However, China accomplished this feat, demonstrating to Brazil, the United States, and the rest of the world how great its engineering is. However, how significant is the importance of this bridge for Brazil? To put it another way, the bridge in El Salvador is essential to Brazil's survival. Despite the fact that it appears to be nothing special, the bridge will be beneficial to 45 communities, and 4.4 million people might stand to gain from just one piece of infrastructure. In the past, both residents and tourists had to travel for a total of 2 hours in order to reach El Salvador in order for me to pair a car. However, we can do this in only 25 minutes now. It would appear to be the center of visitor activity. Due to the limited availability of transit, there was only a little amount of building and development that could be done. It was not possible to transport materials there. Due to the exhausting travel, both the United States and visitors were forced to cancel their vacations. Things were different before the bridge was built, but now that it's been built, they're different again. Not only will the construction of this bridge help the Brazilian economy, but it will also improve Brazil's confidence in the Chinese government. Even as the building was being constructed, Brazil acknowledged China's superiority in the construction sector. Japan was Brazil's initial choice for the construction of bridges. However, this choice ultimately turned out to be unreliable. While Japan had pledged to fix the bridge, it collapsed while they were waiting for Brazil to pay for the repairs. On the other hand, Brazil is aware of China's consistent high levels of dependability, strength, and cost-effectiveness in all of the projects it constructs. At this point, it would appear that Brazil will contact China each time it requires new infrastructure. The news that a nation from Asia would soon be seeking Brazil's assistance is causing a hush to fall over the United States expert community. However, it's possible that the United States won't be able to assist Brazil. Have you ever been to Brazil? One of our American neighbors was forced to pick China. Regardless of whether or not the United States enjoys having China as a neighbor, Brazil will soon be obligated to do so. Read the comments down below in the area labeled "Comment." Why doesn't the United States assist Brazil in the construction of its infrastructure? Share your opinion in comments. Also, click on this video to watch about another amazing project.